Hello there. What you're about to watch is an in-depth analysis of what I went through figuring out what business I want to start. By the end of this video, you will see exactly which business model I decided to start, which agency model in the service-based industry, and why I picked it. So we're going to go over that. This is just my thinking process that I went through. I explained it in the video of the primarily four different agency models that I think is going to be very in demand in 2025. So you will see me going through the business models and picking one in real time in this video. So I hope you find it useful and enjoy. So the strategy is pretty simple. I'm gonna sell something that is service-based because anything that it has to do with product, I obviously can't manufacture. Service is just easier to start with. And there's three principles that I am looking to follow in whatever that I'm trying to sell. I think the most important thing for us is it has to be cheap to fulfill. Remember, we're starting with $0. Zero. So it can't be expensive for me to actually fulfill the service because at the start, I'm probably gonna have to give out the service for free just to get testimonials and a body of work going, just to even see if my systems and processes are actually going to work. So in order to do that, we're gonna have to start cheap, and hopefully it's also not time intensive. But here's where the magic comes in. I want pretty high margins, ideally. Who doesn't, right? So we want to sell expensive. We want to sell at a high price. That's what I'm thinking of because we're going to sell based on value. And the only way I can think of that we can probably do this is just helping businesses with marketing and sales. That's horrible handwriting, but excuse me there. So if I generate the business, whatever business it is, right, an additional, 10% in revenue, and I generate them $100,000 using this service that is cheap for me to fulfill, I can just take a cut of it for myself, and that will be, I can make 10 grand by just simply fulfilling a cheap service that has something to do with marketing and sales of a business that already exists. So they already have a customer base. So we could upsell their existing customer base. That's something we can do. Or we can just help them bring a couple new customers in, maybe one a month if they're selling something high ticket. So that's what I'm thinking. We do sell something expensive, cheap to fulfill. And this is where it comes in, the eighth wonder of the world. I want to outsource the delivery of the service, hopefully from somewhere like Eastern Europe. Europe would be pretty cheap. Latin America would be pretty cheap as well, or Southeast Asia. So these are the three countries I want to outsource the delivery of the service to, so that I don't have to actually spend a ton of time doing the fulfillment, and I just focus on, again, the marketing and sales of my own business. Now, which business models would probably suit these three basic tenets of the service-based, the ultimate service-based business? So keeping what we've just gone through in mind, I can think of 4 businesses that I could start personally that would probably fit those criteria. So I'm gonna just break it down. What's the pros, what's the cons, and the learning curve. So where am I gonna start along the learning curve? Because everything you start is gonna have a learning curve. And obviously I have different skill sets that would better align with certain business models. So I'm gonna have to kind of navigate that. So this is one thing I have in mind. These business models are unheard of pretty much. They're pretty new for the most part, and you'll see why. The first thing I have in mind is a community management business model. Especially with the recent exponential growth of school, I think that is a big market. That is a growing market. So that's a pro right there. So that is definitely growing. That's good. It's relatively new. We don't have a lot of, it's not competitive at all. I haven't seen many agencies that help with community management, and there are pros and cons with that. And you can charge high, definitely, because a lot of these communities are making money. It's paid communities for school, so we can definitely charge high prices for that because the community is literally part of the product that they're selling, so they're definitely going to want to take care of it. The con is probably some fulfillment is going to be tricky because we're going to have to, whoever manages the community that we implement, I'm probably going to hire someone so that they manage individual communities. They're going to have to know the culture and the ecosystem of that community that they're managing in. So that is going to be tricky to navigate, but I suppose it could work. And For the learning curve, I'll probably put myself here. And probably right there is where I put myself in the learning curve. It's something I can do pretty easily, but there's also a big learning curve that I have to adapt to. So that's something I want to do. The next idea that I have is AI automation. And this is an interesting one that I definitely want to delve into. It's mainly chatbots on websites is what I'm thinking. There's a lot of things you can do with AI, but I'm thinking I'm gonna use it to capture leads on people's website, where I'm gonna have in the corner of the website a little pop-up, and then they can navigate. People can navigate with the chatbots, ask questions, and then hopefully at the end the chatbot is gonna capture the lead on the website. It's just a better way for you solution to things like forums that you see on websites that not a lot of people fill out. And this is just going to make people stay at the website longer. So that's something I like. But here's the thing. The pros, let's start with the good things. It's, again, a new industry, very new. So there's not a lot of competition. It's very cheap to fulfill. It's pretty cheap to fulfill. And it's a productized service. I would say it's something that I can build once, and then it can be distributed along multiple businesses, and I only have to do small tweaks to the actual chatbot. So pretty much I can sell the same service over and over without too much personalization. So a lot of benefits there. It's almost looking too good to be true. So here comes the con. I think in order to start anything that's to do with AI, you need a technical co-founder, which I do not have. Because if you're going to be hiring people to do your AI services, you want someone to actually know the AI field, and that is a big component to that. And I also think the second thing is a lot of businesses are wary of the actual AI market. They think it's quite new. They're not too open to just jump into any AI services. They think it's somewhat scammy. Businesses are just not sure about AI at the moment because it's so new. So it can play to your advantage and disadvantage. If I had to put it in the learning scale, I'll probably put it here. Yeah, it's probably here. I do know how to build chatbots. I don't have the technical expertise in terms of anything in depth. So we have to still deal with that. But that is something I'm definitely going to test. I have a lot of businesses that I know. I'll probably deploy a bunch of chatbots onto their websites for free, and we'll just see if that's even a market that I can even go into. The third one is really interesting, and that is hiring offshore talent for businesses. So if they need a virtual assistant, for example, I'm going to hire a virtual assistant, and a lot of the businesses will get top-notch virtual assistants from Philippines or Eastern Europe or wherever it is for fairly cheap in terms of the dollar that performs here in America. So they'll get talent that's fairly cheap, and I just get a cut of however much they pay. So if they pay $12 an hour for a VA in the Philippines, I take $5. And the Philippine VA gets good money, the company gets a great employee, and I get a cut. Now, the pro of this is there is a demand for this. The demand is high, which is good. And also it's an old market, so it's a proven market. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's bad. Why do you think a lot of guys like older women? So it's a proven market, which is good. The demand is high, and I think I have relative expertise in it. So I'm just gonna put myself in here. I can definitely find good talent. I have no problem with that. I know how to find good talent. So I'm probably up in the learning scale a lot more than the other business models. But the con is actually paperwork. I actually don't know how to do contracting paperwork. So I only do freelancers. So paperwork is going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And the other con is, am I needed? Because after I hire the employee for the businesses, they could just fuck me off and just pay the employee, say, don't give him his cut. We'll pay you the full amount, and you just take all the money because I'm no longer needed. I've already helped them deploy the employee onto their business. So there has to be some legal way for me to stay connected, and that's something I still don't know how to do quite yet. So we'll see there. But number 4 is something that is going to be pretty interesting. That is fairly new, and that is going to be the personal brand agency. So this is just a new variant of the social media marketing agencies where they do paid advertising. This is more organic content, and you're trying to Instead of promoting the business with social media marketing agencies, the personal brand agencies promote the entrepreneur that is behind the business. Now, a few pros are that it is quite new. It's a new trend that people are getting into. Personal brands are pretty much taking over the whole landscape in terms of businesses, popularity, everything. Personal brands are the new business model that is working for everybody. And the second pro of personal brand agencies is what really takes this to the next level. It's better than anything that we've ever seen before, and that is the customer acquisition cost is actually netting negative, meaning it's actually giving you money. Advertising is actually giving you money. Now, I know how that sounds. That's how it's supposed to work. If you pay for advertising, if you pay $100, you're supposed to get $1,000, for example, in revenue for your product. But with personal brand agencies, especially if you're on platforms like YouTube or TikTok or all these other platforms, you actually get money from ads or brand deals. So it actually, advertising gives you money. That's ridiculous. It's never been seen before, and it gives you a negative customer acquisition cost, which is a cheat code for any business, right? It basically means you have zero advertising costs. Advertising is paying you money while also advertising your product. It's a weird paradox, but it works. It's what makes these things so powerful, right? And there's a big demand for it. And it's a proven market anyway. So people are aware of it. People are not very skeptical of it. People understand the power of personal brand. So there's not a lot of educating that needs to be done in order to actually sell the service. Now, here comes the con. It is a long ROI. To see the return on investment on personal brand, it takes at least 3 months, if I had to put a number on it. Because we post content, it takes about 3 months to get the ball rolling. So that is one thing. And also, it is extremely personalized. It's literally a personal brand. So the service delivery is not productized like the chatbot at all. It's literally the complete opposite. It's super personalized, so you have to always be engaged with whoever you're helping out in the service, and you're not going to be charging that much. You're charging still quite a lot, but there's also a big cost in delivering the service because it's so personalized. So the margins are questionable. But if I had to put it on the scale, I would probably put it here. Probably the highest out of the 3 in terms of what I'm doing. I already have experience creating content for businesses. So doing this is actually not far off deviated from what I'm already doing. So it shouldn't take me that long to grow that. But these other things are also quite tempting. But looking at this, I would probably choose number 4, the personal brand agency, if I had to pick one for my expertise. But I actually want to half do this, the automation, if I'm being honest. I would like to at least test this to see even if this is a viable strategy that we can go off of. The offshore talent, I'm going to probably say no for now, because on this table, the community management is probably even better. The community management is an interesting one. I'm not sure about that one. There's a lot of upsides. It's not too much cons. There's something I can probably figure out, but the only thing is, compared to the personal brand agency, I'm starting off far back, whereas this one I'm already, let's say, 50% there in terms of mastering the skill. For the offshore, I'm probably about 20% there. For the AI automation, I'm probably about 15% there. And the community management, I'm probably about, 15% there as well. So if I'm already 50% good at creating content and being able to provide that service to businesses, especially because I have much higher conviction, if I'm selling this, I'm absolutely convinced that this can change your business. If I'm selling offshore talent, I am convinced, but not as much as the personal brand. This will probably yield you the best return long term. The AI automation, I'm somewhat convinced. I have to still test that. The community management, obviously I know it's going to work because you need to manage your community. It's just I don't know if I can actually help you with that as much as I can help you with the other things if you're a business. So I think we might start a personal brand service business. That's probably what it's looking like it's going to happen. All right, let's get to work.